for Mike Bradley. Mike will be back tomorrow, I believe. I think so. Anyway, that was all planned. He is just taking a day off for, I don't know, whatever reason. And, of course, he's very much entitled to do that. So what do we got going on? We got Barry Donadio joining us this morning. Barry, are you on with me this morning? Are you here?
I am, Bill. Thanks for having me on, and greetings, good morning to the Eastern Shore of Maryland and Delaware.
Yeah, it's a good morning so far. But, you know, when somebody asks me how I'm doing, I say, so far so good, but, there's still plenty of opportunities to mess things up. So you always have to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, Barry, you do a lot of interviews. First of all, a little bit on your background. Of course, you are the president and CEO, I guess, of Public Security, LLC, based on Maryland's Eastern Shore. If you would, Barry, give us about a 20-second background on where you come from. I know you're former.
Sure. I'll give you the short version. How's that sound? Former infantry, former military police, former Air Force security police, former United States Secret Service, and president of Public Security LLC, private detective and security agency based not only here on Maryland's Eastern Shore, but up in New York as well. And we do a lot of executive protection for politicians. Just recently, we had protected Senator McCormick in Baltimore County, who came down from Pennsylvania, and name a few others, Ben Carson recently, and even a couple of years ago, Kristi Noem. Before she got appointed to Trump's administration. So we also do firearms training. We do a lot of that, teaching citizens in a local area to use pistols.
Oh, there you go. And so that pretty much sums it up pretty well. And, of course, you and I met because you did security for Congressman Harris on occasion. And we always came to you when we needed services like that, because a lot of people don't realize that members of Congress, the leadership gets security provided by the government, but the rank and file membership of the Senate and the House do not. They have to deal with that on their own. And, of course, for that reason, we always maintained a very good relationship with not only your company, but with, police forces in the area. And, always alerted them whenever the congressman was going to be, in a public setting. Just not necessarily for them to be standing around with, shields and helmets, but just for their awareness to know that he's in the area. And that's always worked well. But not only that, but because of your position within the security services of the federal government, you get called on a lot by foreign news agencies to provide commentary and such about America's reaction to certain incidents that are going on both in Europe and in the Middle East, mainly the Middle East. Tell us about what you've been discussing with these reporters and these news anchors in that part of the world in your more recent interviews.
Yeah, it all started for me with the news commentary. Of course, the attempted assassination on Trump and Butler last year. Most of the American news agencies and foreign were looking for former Secret Service people to come on up and provide commentary as to what the heck may have happened. And so that's really where it all started for me as far as news commentary, and it just never stopped. I think some of the foreign news, especially the Middle Eastern, figured out that I kind of know what I'm talking about in the Middle East, and not usually have access to maybe somebody with my background, and has not only the knowledge of what's going on, but empathy as well. I don't want anybody hurt in any of the wars. So I think they like that about me, and they call me up constantly. I just was on yesterday as well. But, a lot of what they're talking about, and just like, we hear President Trump about how he talks about fake news, and let me tell you, it's real what he's saying. Since I've gotten involved in, the back room of news and what's really going on, you start to learn that there's an agenda always being pushed. There's always a narrative. It's never just reporting the news. Each network has its own little narrative that they push, and they don't always fill you into what it is. I'm just a freelance commentator, and I say what I believe, and I don't bend my opinion or my recommendation for anybody. So
you just
I get up there.
You just took away my next question. That was, do you ever feel like they're trying to play you? And I think you just described that, perfectly.
Yeah, they. You can kind of tell where they stand, and I can just describe yesterday's interview, which was out of the Middle East, and They're all very nice. Let me just say that. All these news people, they're very, very nice, very, very cordial, and they're celebrities in their neck of the wood, and they're just outstandingly kind and nice. So that's kudos to them. But mostly they are attacking President Trump. Somehow, some way, people starving in Gaza is Trump's fault, in their opinion. And I'll tell you and your listeners the truth. I spend a lot of time defending Donald Trump on live TV and on radio. The Brits, BBC News has me on constantly on the radio, and them too. It's always about Trump's fault, and they're very good. They're very crafty at trying to twist this into somehow, it's all Trump's fault for doing all this. And, yesterday's interview got a little heated because, they never bring up, about what's going on in Gaza, how I always bring up the same point. It could end very quickly if Hamas releases its hostages. And they don't like to hear that. They never have an outcry of Hamas holding even dead bodies as hostages. It's just unbelievable. But what they do outcry is that Israel's going in there and, destroying Gaza, and Trump won't stop them. And I did remind them that Trump just gave $60 million of humanitarian aid just recently to the Gazans, but that's dismissed away. That doesn't matter. And, that's not really going to help. So it's just amazing. I wish more and more people could even understand the Arabic, and I'm going to have them translated to English, and you would just be astounded what's said during these interviews.
Yeah, and they certainly suspect that you don't really know what they're saying. Some of my favorite YouTube clips have always been foreigners who are speaking bad about somebody who they believe can't understand them, only to find out that they can understand them, and they're extremely embarrassed. You know what I'm talking about there.
It's always through a translator, but what I started to do, and you can go up on my YouTube channel, because some of it just started getting outlandish, and I would videotape me in English doing the interview, and there's always a translator, so you can see what's going on in English, and I put it up on the YouTube. But sometimes they don't even, if it doesn't fit their narrative, they don't even put it on their YouTube channel. They'll let it play live, but they won't save a video. They won't send me the video link because it didn't meet their narrative, or I may have said something that they always want maybe some American there to play the role of this evil villain and play into the hatred that's really going on over there. And I'm not bad. I'm empathetic. I don't want Palestinians hurt. Like many Americans, I don't think any American says, we really want the Palestinians, homicide killed off. Nobody wants that. So there's empathy here, and they don't like that. Some of the narratives there are, the Americans are horrible and they're doing this, and I'm trying to tell them, no, that's not really the case at all. And we want an end to suffering, and we don't want Israel hurt either. We support Israel, but we want it to come to an end. Everybody in America, in my opinion, wants peace over there, and quite frankly, I know since I've been a teenager or even younger, this stuff in Gaza has been going on since then. Everybody's kind of sick and tired of it. A peaceful resolution needs to happen, and needs to happen quickly.
Yeah, well, Barry, you're not quite as old as I am. I can remember I was in school during the 67 war, that's been going on there. When, Israel took over, the Golan Heights and other areas, and then, a lot of the people in the world were demanding to give it back, and they said no. We're not giving it back. They attacked us. We took the territory. We're going to keep it. And, and it was rightfully so. What really concerns me, too, is what's going on in Gaza with the fact that, the Palestinian people, they need stability. There's no doubt about that. Somehow, somewhere, some way, they need to be stable. The problem was when the Israelis gave them the Gaza Strip territory and said, elect your own leadership, either by force or by desire, Hamas became, their government. And, Hamas is not, is not shy about using their own people as cannon fodder. So a lot, and what just burns me up is seeing all these people screaming free Palestine. Well, we want the Palestinians to have a great life, but that doesn't mean you need to destroy an entire nation in order to achieve that. And that's not 21st century thinking. That's 8th century thinking, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that fascinates me every time I get on live TV in the Middle East is there is no mention ever that Hamas is holding hostages. And, some of this television, Egypt is very, very involved. They're very, very upset about what's going on over in Gaza, as well as the Jordanians. As you can imagine, any Arab country has interest in what's going on, but they never, ever, ever point to the fact that there is a terrorist group holding hostages. And it's always shifted blame onto, Israel's going in there and doing all this damage and killing people. Let me remind people, it's a full active war zone with artillery being shot, cannons, belt-fed machine guns. So any war zone like that where there's a free fire zone, there's going to be casualties. And I wish there wasn't one casualty, but they never put the blame on Hamas that is literally holding dead bodies hostages. I've never seen this in my lifetime where, it's just looked the other way and this is all Trump's fault and Israel's fault.
Well, and now you got Trump, and he's finally realizing they've only got about 20 hostages left, either dead or alive. And, and as soon as they give up the last of those hostages, they don't have any talking points anymore. This point was made over the weekend and yesterday as well. And I think that's why Trump is starting to get a little antsy and basically telling the Israelis, do what you got to do. Because
I think he's right.
I think he's right.
Bill, I think he's right. I know that the media mocks the president and, tries to make him like he's just this goofy, bumbling man. He knows what he's talking about. He's 100% right. Based on my law enforcement experience, my military experience, he's got it 100%. They're going to have to go in there and they're going to have to do it quickly and bring this to an end. There's just no other options. And the oxygen of Hamas at this point is exactly what you said. It is holding these hostages. They know if they don't give these hostages up, they survive another day. They have another day of oxygen. But the second they give them back, and if it's not under a signed agreement, listen, I wouldn't want to play with the Israeli CIA, which is the Mossad. They don't play by the same rules as everyone else. Okay? They are going to exterminate the leaders and anyone that perpetrated this to kingdom come. And now we saw the Mossad track down Nazis all the way until maybe even the last Trump administration, where they deported a Nazi from New York. So that's what's going to happen. And they know this. Mm-hmm. So I think through the Qataris, I think they were trying to get some kind of a safe passage if they release these hostages. For some reason, it's not being done. But at this juncture, I think the president's got it right. They're just going to have to go in there. Who knows who's actually alive at this juncture? I don't know. That's a question for the CIA to answer. But it's an unfortunate situation, and it's just, again, astounding to me that the media in the Middle East just says nothing about it. And I even say it on their program. It gets them very upset. I say, this war can end during this program. Before this program is over, it can end if Hamas releases the hostages.
Yeah.
Because Israel will have no reason to do any military action at that juncture.
I absolutely agree. Barry, we've got to pretty much wrap it up here right now. We're getting ready to head into the top of the hour. We've got to hear from our good friend Sean Hannity. And, of course, we got the racing report coming up as well.
Tell him I said hi. Thanks for having me.
I won't be talking to him directly, but I will if I ever get the opportunity. Barry Donadio, our guest this morning. Barry, thank you so much. People want to get in touch with you. It's Public Security LLC, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. They'll find you.